All set? Okay, we're going to get started. This is the first of two joint Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance meetings for the purposes of reviewing the capital budgets. And the first department on the agenda is the Police Commission. So Frank, rather than going item by, just if there's something you'd like to highlight, I think whatever you want to talk about is fine. But you don't have to go through every single item.
Okay, I'll just touch on a quick.
Go ahead.
The big one, and real important one that I have this year is things to our vehicles. And safety, we try to do every year to ensure the department's practice is keeping a dependable response fleet of vehicles, not only to service the community, but also to provide safe cars for our officers that are safe and reliable. We've had a cycle that we keep going really well, and we have a great mechanic who squeezes out about every last mile that he could from each of our vehicles. So I'm seeking to, once again, to purchase 2 new vehicles to allow me to continue with that cycle. And my big concern is to interfere with the cycle of replacing the cars. Really sets us back in a big way. A couple of years ago, we didn't purchase any cars, and to make up for that, it's a tremendous hardship on the department. It just puts the miles way up there. So we're looking to purchase 2 2018 SUVs, and those will replace the last 2 of our remaining Crown Victorias, so our fleet will be fully SUVs. The 2 Crown Vics are the 2010 and 2011, and they both have really high mileage and even higher idling hour mileage of excess of 300,000 miles each on those. The SUVs have been dependable mechanically and physically in our climate. And more importantly, by eliminating the last 2 Crown Victorias, once we have our fleet all SUVs from this point forward after those 2, that'll enable us to keep using the same equipment to outfit the cars. So when they stopped making the Crown Vics, we had to buy all new equipment to outfit the SUVs. And then we'll be at the point where we will be able just to transfer equipment over, buy the car, but transfer the equipment over. And that'll save us approximately $9,000 a vehicle in doing that.
This is the end of the Crown Victorias?
That's the that's the end of that'll be the end of our last 2. And I discussed it with Tony, and what we were thinking of doing is just keeping those old 2 Crown Victorias and use them just primarily for private duty jobs. So that'll cut down on the wear and tear of the other cars and the idling hours. And also, the cars on the private jobs, they're paid for by the utility companies, and they generate $20 an hour we charge, plus related costs. And last year, just for the cars on the road jobs alone, generated in excess of $50,000. So rather than just trade them in for a few $1,000s each, it'd be beneficial to keep them. So that's what I have for the cars. Another important item that we have is our APHIS machine. It's the automated fingerprint identification system. And that is our original machine that the department purchased back in 2006. And at that time, the State Police Bureau of Identification, they changed from the old way. Everybody probably recalls you just did your fingerprints and ink on cards, you rolled their fingerprints, and you actually sent them in the mail, and then you waited for them to read them physically, and then they would send you a response back in the mail. So the state did away with that. Obviously it wasn't very efficient, and the flip side, we get our responses back right away. It's used daily. It's really critical to us because we use it daily during arrest processing. It's important for officer safety because when you fingerprint somebody right there, it'll tell you whether they're wanted or not, and it'll confirm their identity. So when they tell you there's somebody different, once you fingerprint them, if their fingerprints on record, it'll come right back, so we know who we're really dealing with. And on the public side, we use it several times a day because we do all the fingerprinting for people, for employment, for Board of Education or different jobs, anyone that needs to be fingerprinted, they have to come to the police department to get, in whatever, whatever municipality they reside, to get that done. So our machine's coming up on 12 years old, and we've been having more and more problems with it, and the service contract is due to expire in February. And they've been replacing it it's actually been working pretty well, except for the last couple of years. And this last year, the parts are so, they have to replace it with used parts, and the parts at this point, it's old and the parts are obsolete. So we're recommending purchasing a new one of that. There's a lease purchase option that I've included there also.
That seems out of whack.
Which one was that?
You can buy it for $20,000.
Yeah.
But the lease purchase is $556 for 72 months. That's like $40,000, I think, if you figure it out. Unless there's something in there we're missing.
Yeah, I had it as $556.
22 for 72
for
months.
72 months, right?
Yeah.
That came to $40,000. Well, you know what it was? Because the lease purchase, if you lease it, you don't have the service contract.
Oh, okay.
And that's what the difference was with that.
So they add the service contract.
Yeah, so the overall
I was gonna
savings.
say, that's okay.
So the overall savings comes to like $5,510. So we'd have to decide which way we want to go with that.
Yeah.
That's what the savings would be.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So it comes with, so the leasing rate is additional, it comes with the 5 years of maintenance on top of whatever the cost of.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that would explain
That
it.
made a difference. Yeah. And then in our computer line, there's not too much we're asking for. We just want to update our some of our mobile data terminals. Those two are critical. Each of our cars has a mobile data terminal. We refer to them as MDTs, and that's what the officers use to communicate back and forth in the field with the computer-assisted dispatch. They bring up photos on it. They run all kinds of criminal and motor vehicle inquiries. When they're responding to a location, it all comes up on the map, and they get a picture of the house and the area that they're responding to. So
Chief, you mentioned the when you were talking about the vehicles, you mentioned that by going to the SUVs, you're able to move equipment. Does that include this type of equipment?
Yes.
And what's the life cycle of this versus the vehicles? In other words, like if we were replacing like you said, if we replace vehicles, we can move the equipment. How long before we have to replace that equipment, or is it equal? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty equal. We pretty much replace all the equipment until the equipment's no good anymore. So for years, quite a few years, I don't have an exact time, but pretty much all the Crown Victoria stuff, we just kept replacing it until it physically wears out, light bars, until it gets to the point where it's not economical.
You indicated we could save like $9,000 per vehicle
car.
by having all SUVs, but we do have to replace this. This is one component of it, or is it? I was just wondering if you're replacing a car after X number of years, if you also have to replace the equipment that's in it because it's become obsolete as well. So is it really $9,000 worth of savings? That type of thing.
Yeah, no, we haven't run into that problem. There's some, once in a while, there's one piece that might fail or something that might age, but in general,
goes on.
almost all the equipment
Thank you.
gets replaced. Once in a while, and as they do wear and tear, the mechanic replaces them independently, a little bit at a time. But in general, the majority of it will just transfer over.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're looking to replace 3 of our MDTs, and of course they're $15,855. We did 2 last year, and that'll keep us in a cycle with that. And as far as moving out with all our other computer work at the PD, we've been working with Tony, and we've been working with the regional high school, and proposing a possible sharing of IT resources between the high school IT department to service the police department, the town hall, the library, and possibly some other town departments, for economic reasons, to maximize efficiency. They're right here. So for that reason, we thought it'd be best just to push out. We have some servers that need to be replaced, a couple switches, and the SAN that we're talking about putting in. But the thought was just to push that out to fiscal year 20 after we get on board, hopefully with the high school, and use their guidance and expertise of what might be the best way to proceed from there. As far as our automatic external defibrillators, You know, the police are the first responders for all medical emergencies in town. Each officer, when he goes out, each patrol officer with their vehicle, they're issued an AED. So they go out 24/7, 365. We have a total of 5 of them. They're in excess of 15 years old, so they're no longer supported by the manufacturer for repairs or software upgrades, and they're in need of replacement, just pretty much to reduce malfunction, to keep up with current technology. It came to light recently that they were really aged. The American Hospital Association and the military, they use a life expectancy of cycle of 5 to 8 years. These are 15 years old. So we're looking to replace them all. Also, in addition, several years ago, the town participated with the Connecticut Department of Health. They became a heart-safe community. You probably see the signs around. And that the goal of that whole program was to improve the cardiac chain of survival. So it offered CPR training and training in the use of AEDs. In conjunction with that, and talking with the paramedic in town, it was suggested that if we are going to upgrade, we get an additional AED and a wall-mounted cabinet and put it in the lobby of the police department, so to provide accessibility to the public, especially with all the events that go on the town green. If somebody needs an AED, I mean, they're trained in it, but there's not really one total accessible right there for the public. So that's what we'd like to do with that. And as far as the building upgrade, that's a major item, and as everybody knows, it's been talked about for years and discussed for several years now. But we really do need to, think seriously about moving forward with that project. Started way back with the deputy and back in 2009, and this, we talked about the studies that recommended the expansion and the renovations to bring us into compliance and to make us more efficient. Recently, the STEEP grant was used as a portion of that to enhance the radio system and the monopole, and we're hoping to use the balance for the carport. But moving forward into the future, there's a few more things that we want to do just to make our situation over there a little bit more tolerable and to make the best use that we could of where we are until something major is done. And we've been working along with Brad Parsons from the building maintenance with some suggestions from him and some ideas on our part, kind of to keep us afloat and make our current situation over there more functional and tolerable and presentable until something else is done. So later tonight in his presentation, he's going to share some projects that he'd like to do, or we'd like him to do for us over there. But we have carpeting and stuff that needs to be changed. Some of the carpeting over there is still in excess of 30 years old, and it's stained. It's the original carpet from when we moved over there. We've run out of office space. We've run out of storage space. We have an old photography darkroom that's not used anymore, so we'd like to do some minor renovations to that to give us another office. And the big one is the dispatch area is really deplorable, so going in conjunction with this radio system upgrade, when that's done, we want to remodel the dispatch area. It's used 24/7, and that's the main point of contact. When somebody comes into the police department, the first thing and the only thing a lot of people see is they look through the window and they see the dispatch area, and it's really bad. There's a plastic garbage bag covering an air conditioner that's built into the wall that's been there for probably 10 years now. The walls, the fabric covering on the walls, the soundproof coverings actually coming off the walls and hanging in some areas. So my bottom line with that is we'd like to do a lot of the minor renovations that Brad's going to bring up, but my pitch with that is that going forward in the future, the police department's been very patient and tolerable and waiting its turn, but we really feel that we're in dire need now that hopefully in the near future, or as we move forward, we could get ahead with the major renovations, and so that's why we left the building project in there for your consideration as we move forward.
What budget is Brad now talking about? Building maintenance. Building maintenance, right. Building maintenance is going to do what?
He's holding some minor,
some minor projects, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I have. Unless anyone has
Any
questions?
questions for Chief?
I think a question more for Tony.
Yes.
Just because it just occurred to me, like the APHIS machine, or other machines, whether it's police or any other department, when we purchase them and they have a life expectancy that we know about,
Right.
do we, because it's the first time I've seen that on the
It's a good
capital
question.
plan in 4 years.
Typically,
So
what we do
why
is,
wouldn't
should
that
be in
on
here.
A schedule,
It should have been on the schedule, and I think that was something that was probably.
or anything we buy with, that we know has a lifespan of 10 years, why do we wait 11 and say, oh, I need a new one, you know? I need the full money. This is nothing from you,
Yeah.
this is more of just a general town-wide thing.
Yeah, yeah. We do. We do have those on schedule. This particular one was not, but generally we do.
But generally we do, so
Yeah.
we spread that, so we know when.
So we don't have to do a bunch in one year.
Because we could be putting stuff, you know.
And that's some of the things I'm trying to address now that they might have been overlooked in the past. So as we're moving forward and doing some different things, we're coming across several different things that had to take some action on and get them into a cycle. And those
Right.
two are actually two of the ones that we want to get back into place.
Yeah, fair enough.
Question I have as well. Just in regard to, for example, the MDTs or the servers that are required, maybe here's a question for you as well, Tony, along those lines,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there any collaboration with the other departments within the town in terms of similar needs that are kind of put together to see if we can?
You're talking about the data terminals?
Well, there's, I know, notice as we go through it, there's a number of requests for things like servers and.
Yeah, so
things of that nature.
I could explain that. What we're trying to do is, as the chief alluded to, is we're in the process of looking to work collaboratively with the school district,
Right.
regional school district, to help to define these efficiencies and to help us to sort of work collaboratively together as opposed to different silos, which is what it used to be. And one example are the servers, and we talked about possibly having only one set of, as you probably are aware, we had some money aside for servers for the town, which we haven't done yet, because we're thinking that possibly we can combine ours and save quite a bit of money. And so that's an example. And they've been very helpful in helping to identify efficiencies for us in and stuff that maybe they do over at the school district that we could benefit from, or technologies that maybe they use.
So that's done after we collect all this information, we try to do that?
Yeah, so we're sort of in the process of doing it, so that's why they put that off.
But we
Because
don't even centralize our IT within the town.
that's part of this process, is to include everybody in the town
The school, I mean,
and combine it with the school.
yeah, but like police and fire are on different IT. We had
Well,
this discussion a while
That's
back.
why we're doing this with the
So
district.
the new sir would centralize the town and integrate that with the school all at the same.
That's correct, right.
Anybody else? Is Adam here? Adam's here?
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Tell him to come in. Adam, you're up. Okay, the next is Parks, and Adam Parsons.
Yeah, you didn't get one? She handed them out previously. I can. Yeah. Do you,
Over and above.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
How's everybody doing? Good. All right, let's get to the meat of the Parks Department. Right off the bat, center field irrigation system. As I mentioned in the past, last year, that the system is, you can see 27 years old, and it can go any day right now. So like to start putting money into the coming years to replace it. Pretty simple.
Okay.
Next page is the concrete at center, the dugouts at center field. We did the ones at West River. Everybody loves it. We'd like to finish off the last field at center field, and that's $8,000. It's pretty simple.
Is that both fields or just
Both fields,
the one near the road and the one
correct.
in the back?
Yeah. What's that? That's correct, yeah. We did the ones at West River, and they came out fabulous. Kids love them, parents love them. Laying in the dirt and the mud and whatnot. So it looks great too. This is a wish list. Install irrigation system at West River. I mentioned this before for some time now. There's a lot of comments to me from the FOS League that they would like an irrigation system down there. We have city water that has been installed right next to the field, so it would save some money considerably from 75 now to 60, so we don't have to cross the street and whatnot. It's right there. Tennis courts. The upkeep and maintenance of the tennis courts. 2020, $15,000 to repair some of the cracks, paint the courts, reline it, paint some pickleball lines on it, maybe in the near future. Keep them going strong, because they definitely have some cracks in them, that's for sure. So we have to constantly do some maintenance on it.
Are these ones that are, they're currently closed at Beecher, are those ones that are closed, or?
John and I decided to close them because the crack running through the courts,
So, so it's
definitely an issue. And the cracks down here, they're starting to get pretty big.
And this is to address all of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, not Beecher, not just here. Yeah, not Beecher at all.
I'm sure John's going to talk about Beecher.
Thank you.
I'm sure he is. The baseball field grooming machine, that's our bread and butter for the Parks Department. That's what keeps the field looking so nice and groomed nicely for all the tournaments and whatnot. And it was purchased in '99, so it's getting up there. You're going to need a new one soon.
You looked at me when you said that.
Well, yeah. You're the closest one to me. Don't take it personally, yeah. So that's that in a nutshell with that one. It's pretty simple. And a vehicle to take one of our largest mowers around with a 20-foot trailer. It's a 2006 pickup. Probably by the time of 2022 and 23, we're going to need a new one. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple.
Any questions for
Any
Adam?
questions?
Nothing?
Good?
Thank you.
Very good. Take care, everybody. You're welcome.
Building maintenance.
Maintenance. Adam's brother Brad. Good evening, everybody.
Let's just get to your tab here. Building maintenance. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
First thing on the list, I know Frank spoke about the interior renovations in the PD, and I was asked to figure out what it would cost, mainly to renovate carpets, walls, floors, take down block, put in doors, and you'll see the first request of $21,200, and that mainly is comprised of carpeting in the training room, chief's office, deputy chief's office, admin office, and the dispatch area. And it also includes replacing the interior soundboard walls in the dispatch area. That's what the $21,200 covers. The next request is $25,000, which is, that's to redesign and take down walls within the police department so they can better utilize two offices. I guess one's a dark room that an officer sits in. It's a very small little area. They want to take down a wall and go into ISU, which will require concrete and block work, header work, new door. It's obviously going to affect the floor. It'll affect the ceiling, and there'll be some minor painting. That's what the $25,000 is for. That's the two requests for the police department that Frank asked me to put in for him.
We took a tour of the police, I don't know if you all were in here last year, but.
Yeah. It's in rough, the carpeting is in
Well, the whole
rough
place
shape.
is in rough shape, so.
Yeah,
These are
Clearly.
Band-Aids.
Yeah,
yeah,
clearly they're next on, I mean, they've been waiting and waiting, as he said.
they have been. I mean, you could see.
They've got to be next on the list.
You can see track paths and carpets where people continually walk in one area, and a blue carpet is now white or light blue. And the training room is, it is deplorable. That carpet is, that
This
should,
is too small.
yeah, it should be in the dumpster,
It should
that carpet.
definitely be next, not should be, it is. It is the next priority for this town
Yeah.
as far as capital projects.
Definitely is. But Frank asked me to put it in there, and I did some research, and it can be done, but that's his request.
Okay.
The next request is for $12,000. Yeah.
I neglected to ask, those capital, Frank, those capital numbers you had for the renovation, are those new numbers?
No, that
They're
was the
new.
last time, that was
So how old are those?
reassessed in 2015.
So they're 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, 2015.
Okay, thanks. All right.
There was never a plan adopted, those were just rough
No,
numbers.
no, but
So right
I
off the cost
rec-
estimate that we
Yeah.
paid for?
I
Yeah.
recognize them as
Yeah.
old numbers. They
Yeah.
may not even be.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Now we're on the,
My next request for
Boiler.
next year is for the boiler, is $12,000, is to replace the heating boiler header, which connects all 4 boilers at the library together as one. It's in deplorable condition. It's starting to sag. It's showing deterioration. I've had 2 contractors take a look at it, and they said it's time to change that header. It's misdesigned, in my opinion, and in my opinion, the contractor's opinion. It's time to put a brand-new header in, one solid piece, and add 4 pumps, 1 pump to each boiler to reduce the effect of thermal shock. And thermal shock affects boilers, causes them to fail prematurely, which is a problem in the library. I replaced a boiler this year in the library out of our operating budget. I think that's one of the most important requests from building maintenance as far as heating goes in the library.
12,000 you're talking about?
12,000.
Will we make it this year?
Yes.
Because we
Guaranteed.
could certainly consider it as a.
No,
Building request.
it's a priority, but we've checked it out this year. I've also had 2 more contractors come in and take a look at it, see how I'm doing there. And when we were putting a new boiler in, we're fine.
We'll make it through the winter.
We'll make it through the winter.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
Brad, have always been on the button.
Yeah.
So-
And my next request is from
And I
the
got your
senior
name-
center.
I got your name right there.
You did. It's from the
I
senior
finally
center.
figured the 2 of you out, I know.
Yeah, finally.
I can distinguish between the 2 of you.
I mean, I wore
I don't
yellow
have
to
to
try
do
and
the
change it.
The
and-
thing with Brad is blonde and
Yeah.
that stuff. I know you
Yeah.
now. So,
Well, it's such a miracle, we might even get an ice rink out of it for John.
You might.
It's obviously a year of miracles, right?
But the heating header is very important to us in building maintenance to get that fixed.
if you say so, we'll listen.
Yep. The next request is for the senior center. And to better explain this request, I have
Is he
brought
looking at
the
me?
senior center. Yeah. All of them.
I'm Mary Ellen LaRocca,
Really?
Food Services Director.
Yeah.
We have Susan Davidson. She's going to say a few words on behalf of our commission, but we also have Mary Lee Saption. She's our vice chair. We have Chris Lovejoy. She's also on the commission. And of course, our senior center director, Jeanette Bergsman. So I'll turn it
Yeah, if
over
you'd like
to
to
Susan.
sit down and say a few words for what the $150,000 is
Oh,
for.
wow. Well, I did pen a few things here. I promise you it's going to be brief, but I wanted to be very specific about what I said. I am a member of Human Services, and as the Human Services Commission moves forward to realize our goal of transforming the Woodbridge Senior Center, you're all aware of the fact that for the past 40 years, The senior center has been housed in a school built in 1928 and now very inadequate in terms of meeting the needs of the seniors in Woodbridge, who now comprise almost one-third of our population in Woodbridge. We have applied for a state STEEP grant, the Small Town Economics Assistance Program grant, for $500,000 and hope it will be funded. Building maintenance, we are here in support of building maintenance's budget. They have budgeted $100,000 in fiscal years 2019 and 2020 to help us with Phase 1 and 2 of our strategic plan. Phase 1 creates an ADA-compliant ramp to increase accessibility and improve emergency evacuation of anyone in the center, which is in fact a very urgent need. Urgent, I underline. In keeping with current trends, the center now offers innovative new programs that enable seniors to remain physically and mentally active and independent. With these changes, for the very first time, we are bringing new, younger, adult audiences to the center, not just seniors, as well as serving our older seniors as we have done in the past. Such goals and the increased activity at the center are not compatible with our current facility that is antiquated and deteriorating. Having visited 5 senior centers in the area, housed in renovated schools similar to the space that we are using, we're excited about the future and what is possible as we move forward to implement necessary improvements to the center for all residents of Woodbridge. Basically, thank you.
You're welcome.
Rod, do you have whatever you wanted to
Just
say?
interject and say something too. It is really imperative that we get that ADA compliant ramp. Over the course of many years, we have had several building inspectors, several people who own companies with medical equipment come look at that center. There's no other avenue that we can go but to build an ADA compliant center. And many years ago, we might have had 1 or 2 people coming to the center that were either in a wheelchair or using a walker or a cane. Nowadays, it's a good 1/3 of our attendees. And the area refuge could probably fit, on a good day, maybe 3 people in there to wait for firemen if they had to come to the center. So it is really imperative and a good move for the town to move ahead and get an ADA ramp installed. Jeanette advised me tonight that plans were dropped off for an ADA ramp, so we do have some plans drawn up for the ramp. Tomorrow we're having a luncheon. It's our holiday luncheon sponsored by the Woodbridge Rotary Club for Seniors, 130 people, and a good portion of those people are coming in wheelchairs, probably a good 30 that are
Yeah,
disabled.
25, 30 will be in wheelchairs, and another 30 will have walkers, and beyond that, the inability to actually climb stairs independently.
And just remind us, where the ramp is meant, ideally, a ramp would go where?
On the side, there's a garden there that the garden club have planted where the main entrance is. So it would go along the senior center lounge, the windows there. Right outside the senior center lounge.
The long
No, I know what
side.
you're talking about, but then how's it access?
Through the lounge.
Oh, through the,
Through
oh, I
the
see.
lounge.
Uh-huh.
To the
And
left.
it's really the only way to go.
So it creates a whole new entrance.
Yes.
I was gonna say, you're losing me here.
It creates a whole new entrance, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
The lounge is that area on the other side of the big hall,
Yes, where the windows
where
are.
the windows
Yes.
are. So
That's-
so you're
They
gonna break open?
create, they create a door.
And
So
then how do you
there's a
get them,
window there.
the ramp's gonna go right down into the
meeting room up all.
It would be a switchback ramp because it
Right.
has to be compliant,
Okay.
and there'd be
So it's not gonna be that
drainage.
stairway near the gym?
No.
No.
It's gonna be a whole new entrance.
Well, that's where I was confused. So all the entrances that I'm thinking of, how are they gonna get a ramp there? Forget about it. Gotcha.
We're not necessarily saying a whole new entrance, we're saying an accessible entrance that can be used as an entrance or an emergency exit. The
Gotcha.
regular entrance will still stay.
Right.
As well as the elevator
But the
down.
ramp would be on that other new, it would be a new development on that side of the building.
And if you've all toured the center, I mean, you know, could you imagine what it would be like getting 30 wheelchairs and, you know, I mean, our population has changed. It really has changed, along with our name, which is now the center, not the Woodbridge Senior Center, because we really are meeting the needs of more than just, you know, seniors.
So would it make sense to carve that project out of this 150? I mean, without foundation, I assume maybe we don't have the money to do, I don't know, but there's an absolute need. I mean, we've been talking about this for years, and there seems to be
Safety.
an absolute need to comply with.
It's emergency
the
access.
Maybe rather than bury it into this, we should understand that project and have it. So just a thought, to have it separated out as a separate project.
What's the status of your grant application?
Pending.
And now that the state budget has been completed, we're gonna follow up.
Right. Because to your point, that might make a big
Seems
difference.
unlikely that- I mean, so, I don't know, it just seems to make sense to me that if we looked at that independently, we might have a better idea of doing that than.
Is there a sense of what portion of the 150 would be specifically just for that project, or is that the 100,000?
You know, at this time,
Well-
we don't really have a cost analysis done on the project.
Okay.
It was,
You mentioned phase one and phase two. You
Right.
said phase one is the actual ADA compliant ramp. What's phase two?
and also with that would be the lounge, refurbishing the lounge. Marilyn, did you want to say, or I
Yes, it
said?
would be refurbishing the lounge, including flooring, painting, lighting. Phase two would be the cafeteria and would include again, flooring, lighting.
Isn't there an issue with the bathroom?
Well, the bathroom, they are working on now through Small Cities Grant.
Oh, I didn't know that. That
And
was
they
pretty
hope
good.
to get that completed, started maybe the end of February, March. we're looking at.
That's
I
That is
just want
what
to
we-
clarify your question. So the $150,000 was the budget figure that we got on a cost estimate, but we haven't for the ramp.
For the ramp.
Right. But we
That
haven't.
is the ramp.
Yeah,
okay.
but we haven't, put plans and then gotten, haven't gone.
I guess I was
far into
confused
the-
because it says, I don't even see ramp, but I knew the ramp, but it says remodeling include main dining room, senior center, lounge, kitchens, very big. I mean, there's no, but, so if that's, I just think the ramp's important, we should understand the ramp, and I don't understand the ramp based on
Right,
this,
okay.
is all I'm saying.
Do you have a time estimate, how long it would take to build this? I'm listening to this presentation and thinking about 30 people in wheelchairs needing to be evacuated,
Which is why I said
terrible thing to
urgent,
consider.
urgent,
No, at
urgent.
this time, I mean, we would have to send
I mean,
out
this
an
is
RFP, request for a proposal, and see what we get back as far as cost.
But I mean, this is beyond urgent if you're going to hold those kinds of events. You absolutely need it.
Yes, yeah.
Definitely.
We couldn't agree more. We couldn't agree
How do
more.
you do it now if 30 people show up in wheelchairs?
Well, they come through the elevator. but-
Oh, they use that elevator.
Yes, but in the
One at a
event.
time?
One person at a time, one person.
So if you hear an alarm between 12 and 2 tomorrow, some of you able-bodied people, please show up and help us evacuate, because that's what it takes.
Okay. We hear you.
And we have, in fact, looked at 5 different, as I mentioned before, Westport, Middletown, Wallingford, Monroe, and Shelton, and it was very, very illuminating what can be done.
That's
Actually, the
encouraging.
ramp
Yes.
that we saw in Westport, their senior center is located in the lower level of an old school which houses the town hall upstairs. And that's where we actually got the idea of the ramp that goes back and forth that would be able to be accommodated on the side of the lounge.
Helpful to know.
There you go.
Thank
Go.
you.
Okay, the next thing is the library HVAC.
Library
I
HVAC.
think we've talked about it.
We talked about this, and as of today, because I didn't forget, and I didn't want to leave the library, and I'll give this to Tony. You've made a little bit of progress.
Oh,
That's from AKF, that's where we're at. You have quite a bit.
Yeah, on this item, there's money in the, there's a library fund, what's it called?
the Noise D. Clark
The
Library.
Noise D. Clark Library Fund,
Right.
which we might use to
We can
take
use
care of
to,
this.
correct, yeah.
But we're well on our way. I mean,
Yeah.
I could briefly just read this and tell you where we're at.
Sure.
Sure, it's just, this is what we already have. The schematics have been completed for the HVA system, 100%. The construction documents, I would have had them today completed, but I have no way of getting them to the plotter downstairs because the office is closed and there's nobody there to print them anyways, or I'd have a full set of construction documents. And as part of the construction administration, which is the next step, the contractors' bids will be evaluated for mechanical. This is what AKF will do for us after the town reviews the construction documents. They'll come up with the shop drawings, bid proposals, anything that's listed on this page based on the construction schedule, make up a schedule for us, tell me when we can start, give us an idea how long it will take, the best time to do this type of work for humidity, because you don't want to do it in July, because you can use the existing air conditioning
As
in the
you
building.
all know, they have a considerable humidity
Yeah,
problem there.
that's when they have their worst humidity problems.
Right.
But we pretty much have everything we need. I think there should be a couple of meetings with AKF before we go any further. And based on those meetings, we might be able to proceed.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just a little bit probably behind and not aware of everything that's going on in the past, but could you just describe briefly what the overall project is, so?
The overall
as to-
project, the library isn't really set up, it's set up for air conditioning, but it's really not set up for dehumidification. And over the years, the past years, there's high humidity within the library, which affects the books, the magazines, it's uncomfortable to work in, it's not good for anything, it's high humidity. So we retain the services of AKF, who were involved at Beecher Road School, and I discussed it with Tony, and we brought in John Rice to take a look at our problem. He determined what we need, why we can't dehumidify, and how to proceed to correct it.
In the construction, you mentioned construction a couple
Well,
of
there are
times.
current air conditioning system, most of that will be taken out, and a brand-new system will be put in to dehumidify and cool the air. Right now, we have the ability to cool moist air. What we bring into the building, we're required to bring in fresh air, is not dehumidified. It's cooled and just sent into the building.
Is the system just old, or is it badly designed?
I think it wasn't really designed for dehumidification.
It was never right.
Yeah, it was never right since, what, 2000?
Yeah.
And I wasn't involved, and I don't think building maintenance was involved in 2000, and it was poorly designed, and I guess somebody sat on a board and said, okay, we'll accept your drawings for a new building this way, and it happened.
Is there a specific source for this humidity that is different than a normal building?
Well,
is it built on
they have
a
small
creek
air
or
handlers
something?
upstairs on the second floor. They have there's probably 20 small air handlers that mainly just cool the air, don't dehumidify, and they're using the attic space as a big plenum. So what they're doing is they're taking the air within the space, bringing it up into the plenum, the small air handlers hit it, or grab it, cool it, and send it right back in. So on very humid days, when you're pulling air in through the front door or anywhere, there's numerous places you get into the building. If you have a fresh air unit downstairs that pulls fresh air in for people, that pumps that into the building. Humid air is now in the building. It goes up into the attic space, sucked into a small air handler, cooled and brought right back down. It may be cooler, but it's still humid. The humidity in that building can get as high as 88% humidity. Where you go into the magazine room and the magazines are curled. And I know Susan knows that there's
Yeah.
many complaints over that.
Yeah, and it's been a problem for day one, and I'm
Yep.
trying to picture the boiler room. I know I've been down there, but that's my question, and just remind me.
Yeah.
What's the relationship of the fact that you need to redo the boiler connections
The boiler,
with the overall HVAC problem? Weren't the boilers part of the HVAC problem?
no,
to
they're
begin with?
separated.
Completely separate
Yeah,
issues?
completely separated.
Okay.
Yep. Boiler's just for the heating portion of it. The air conditioning unit, the main bulk of the unit is outside, and there are 2 air handlers inside, one for the main building and one for the old library.
And it has nothing to do with when we automated the system?
Nothing.
And made it, yeah.
Nothing. But all that'll be taken out.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Brand new automation.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, just realize this will be funded through the Noyes B. Clark Fund.
Yep.
Because it's not going to affect our budget, so. The money is there, the money is there, oh yeah, the money is there specifically
It's
for use of the library.
improvements, right.
So,
Specifically for the use of the
it's
library.
there, and we've spoken about it at the investment committee meetings, whatever.
Yeah, the investment
It's going to
committee
be,
is-
But it's helpful for us to know.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be, it's not going to affect the town budget. Anything else on this?
So because of that, can the work start this year?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Took a while to
And
figure it
you're-
I would imagine the goals.
It did, it took a long time to really figure
The
out
goals before
what
the
would
summer
solve it.
season, right,
Yeah.
before the next humidity.
Good,
season.
Next humidity, it's either before or after the humid time.
Right, right.
Okay, I just want to run through these other few,
The other ones are out there.
yeah,
Bob.
repairs,
There's-
now the repairs, I just question, repairs
Yeah.
of this roof?
Yeah, this
Obviously,
roof, certain areas in this
part of
roof
it-
will change that,
Okay.
and I believe the building maintenance vehicle is in there.
Yeah, Ford van,
Yep, the Ford van, and some other things that are gonna,
gymnasium floor,
that'll have to be sanded.
this floor.
This floor desperately needs it, yeah, it's
Okay.
getting there, and, no other
Yeah, we got that out in
requests.
23. You know, honestly, if
The
it's
floor,
urgent, we'll talk.
we've been postponing it, but
Yeah,
I put it back in there.
okay.
And that's pretty much it for building maintenance.
Any other questions for,
There is no request from pool and gym, by the way, for next year.
okay, good.
Not,
Before you leave, I remember when my kids were small, the children's library
Yep.
always had a water problem. It would-
roof or,
The in the old library, the
Yep.
carpet would get wet when it rained
It was downstairs.
downstairs.
oh,
right.
okay.
It's in a different place.
Oh, all right.
Well, but that building is
Oh,
still
yeah.
part of that library, and I
Oh,
wonder if there's an issue.
Roof leaks or to that?
No, he's talking
I'm
basement.
Oh,
talking,
basement.
about the basement, whether there's an issue with water intrusion there, which may be contributing to this problem. 'Cause
With the
you-
high humidity?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you would think when an air conditioning system is designed, it
Yeah.
would be designed to have capacity to deal with the issues.
Yeah, in the old section of the library, I guess in the basement over there, the only thing we have in that particular area that's shut off from the rest of the basement is our heating system.
And that in no way communicates with the rest of the library?
way at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
That's it. And that's
Anything
it
else?
for building maintenance. Thank you very much.
Always very interesting.
Recreation.
Okay. This is the six-year capital budget for the Woodbridge Recreation Department. First page shows what's in progress. Gymnastics equipment, which is an ongoing process that we buy equipment every so many years. When the life expectancy of that piece of equipment comes to the end, then we replace it. Shuffleboard courts have been ordered, they're in, and Adam and I are working together to put them together next to the bocce courts. We're going to put it in like this. It'll be very minimal amount of money to put in. We're going to put them there. We just need the process to lay down and roll it. And then those go right on top. They're portable. They can be picked up at any time, taken out, put anywhere. You can put them anywhere. And the third one is a treadmill. We've ordered have a treadmill. And that's a process where every so many years the treadmill is worn out, it's got to the end of its life, and we put it in. The first thing that we have on our agenda is we've moved up the tennis courts at Beach and North. Adam was talking before about the tennis courts in the town here were cracked, and he can fix those. Our tennis courts at Beach Road School are, they're too big. We've already patched them twice. We've used a patch material that you put over it, fiberglass. It held, and then after the winter, it breaks open, and now they're too big. There's no way to fix them, so those will have to be totally replaced. We've shut them down, closed them. Somebody could get hurt by just running, kids running and playing on them like that, so they're out of service. It does do a justice to Beecher School, because they also use that area too. They use it as when they have a fire drill or anything like that to bring the kids out onto there, and it's a nice area to bring the kids into, and they also use it as a playground area. So it's a procedure that has to be done. It has to be taken out. There's no other way than to fix the whole thing.
And their extended day program uses that area, the tennis courts,
Right.
for programs.
And we would do, on those courts right now, we would do 83% of that cost would come from the general fund, and 4% would come from our recreational fund that we have. The monies that we've earned over the years and we saved and put into an account, we can put some money towards that. It's an area that's shared by the Board of Ed and us, so maybe in some way we might be able to work with the Board of Education in the sharing of the fund. I haven't talked to them yet like that, but I just thought maybe we might be able to. But otherwise, this is the cost of what we would do for that area. The next one is the ice skating rink. The ice skating rink is closed. Adam and I closed the ice skating rink. There's too many cracks. It doesn't hold any water. We had that big rainstorm 4 or 5 weeks ago. It filled it right to the top. It was beautiful. Day and a half later, there's nothing in the rink. It's sink through. It's asphalt. Asphalt's not made for that. The determination by the commission, Recreation Commission, I didn't agree with it at first, but now I do agree with it. I wanted to get it in. It was by $8,000 to $10,000. Rip it all out. Company come in, put a new one in, put all the thing, but you'll have the same thing. You'll have the same thing all over again. And then 2 or 3 years on the road, you have to seal it, try to seal it. Hopefully it'll last so many years. So instead of wasting $8,000 to $10,000 on that, we've decided to put together the correct material. You put in cement, you put it in, you make the area, and now it's good. And it's a good spot for it right there. It's an excellent spot. It's an excellent spot. It's the center of town. It's a nice area. Plus it's white. Asphalt black absorbs the heat from the sun, white reflects it, and it'll last a lot longer. And the life expectancy of the cement is like 20, 30 years. You know, you can re-cement it and re-seal it. As with asphalt, it comes apart. You just can't keep doing it over that.
This won't be open this winter.
This will not be open this winter. It's not be open. We just couldn't do anything with it. We tried. I had a company come out and look to seal it, and it was like half the cost of putting in a new one. I said, why would we do that? Because he said there was extensive cracks through the whole thing, and then the border around the outside, the asphalt border around the outside, would have been put in anyways, a brand new one. It just wasn't cost-wise to do. In 2020, our next one, outdoor volleyball court. This is PVC. I saw this in New Jersey. My daughter lives in New Jersey. I go down to the parks there. They have a beautiful park. We have a beautiful outdoor facility at the Old Woodbridge Country Club. We use the tennis courts and we turned it into volleyball courts. And in Jersey, they had PVC pipe, the large PVC pipe about that big, goes around the entire section, around the whole outside like that. It's sunk half into the ground. It's smooth, it's rounded, you can't get your toes into it. You fill it with sand, the sand stays within the area. Right now, with the heavy storm, most of it's towards the road. Most of it pulled out like that. So we have to Adam has to come back in and redo it like that. But this is what I feel would be great. And then down the road in 2024, we'd build a second court because it's very popular. Even if it's hot out, it's unbelievable how many people will come out and play volleyball and play in that area. It's a good project.
We can only accommodate 4 teams right now, and if you have a second court, you can get 8 teams, and so you can just build the league more than just accommodating a few teams.
Located where?
Country Club of Woodbridge, the old Country Club of Woodbridge. The next one is what we were talking about before, the replacement of equipment. Down the road, gymnastics equipment as it's being used. The safety of that equipment is worth so many years, and in 2021 we'll be needing to replace another piece of equipment. I think it's the uneven bars that we have right now that are coming to the end of their life. The next one is the fitness trail. The fitness trail I put in here in 2022, it's excellent. It's at the Fitzgerald property. It's 10 stations set up all around the Fitzgerald property. It's used every day, every time, and we've already had 2 Eagle Scouts come in and do Eagle Scout projects. The first one was to replace wood and everything like that. The second one was to restore it and to seal it and make it so that it's worthy, so that it makes it through the winter. And that too is also to a point where people are using it, but it's getting to the point where we can't refix it. You only can go so far with a piece of wood that's been out in the for 10 years. So
The signs are like this now.
right, and they're starting to turn a little bit. Some of the signs are set up like that though, so that when you have to understand, some of them are set up on an angle so that when you're working out and you're looking out.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, I know you knew it because you're working out. I didn't know it because I asked Adam to stand them up straight. Adam told me. I got to be honest.
I think he's making
Adam
that
was
up,
the expert.
But that's another.
I didn't want to refix it. Right? And here's the treadmill replacement. Treadmill replacement for the fitness center. Every so many years, the treadmills have to be replaced. We have to get commercial treadmills. We can't use residential treadmills. People offer them to us, but they just don't last. You have to have a commercial. For safety reasons, you have to have commercial, and in so many years, they're at the end of their life, and Rob Kenyon, who's our director over there, he does an excellent job of keeping those things going like that. But at a certain point, it has to be replaced. And then we take the replacement one out, we put it out in the hallway that we have in a little closet area like this. The one that's there being used as the overflow extra one, that goes to the dump, and then we don't throw it out. We recycle it and we use it and we have it as a backup. And we can do it that way. The next one is the town activity tent. This is a tent that I feel that the town could use. We had it one year. We put it up in front of there. When we have our road race or we have any events or we have the concerts and stuff, we have to put up like 8 or 9 tents. And that's cost consuming, it's hard and everything like this. And what it takes us to do in an hour and a half to put up a tent like this, it takes us, 3 people to put a tent, 3-4 people to put up a big tent like this. It takes us 8 to 10 people to put up all those different tents, and we have to put them up, and then we have to take them all down. And this tent is not just for Woodbridge Recreation Department, it's for the entire town to use, for any events that we want to have. And it also we can use in the summertime. A great event for this in the summertime is the Woodbridge Recreation Summer Camp. We have to be inside when it rains, and we dismiss from Beaches South Assembly Room, and we're putting 250 kids in that area and holding them there and bringing them out one at a time. We have to bring the cars up in front of the building for safety reasons. If we take this tent in the summertime and set it up outside for the entire summer over the area in the center of the circle, we can bring our children out and still dismiss the same way we always do. We're just walking them out. But that was a good project. And the next one's the basketball courts. We have no outdoor facility. We took them out at West River Field. Because they were right along the third base line for one of the fields. And when you're playing baseball, you go to the foul line, but then you need so many feet when you get to the end of the court or any field to be able to keep running hard to play out. So you need about 15 or 20 feet after the out of bounds area. We had 3.5. And then you hit asphalt top for the thing. So that had to come out. So that came out for safety reasons. No court was put back. A new court was put in at the playground area over at the Leggy property, which is a half court, but it could be used as a full court, but we don't do it that way. We leave one net up high at 10 feet and one net down at a lower level, 6 feet, so that the children can play, so it's not dominated by the high school kids that come. And that's exactly what happened. The high school kids go to one end to play, the little kids play at the other end, and it's constantly open in there. And Adam put up the new safety netting so that no balls that were played at one end go into the roll into the area where the kids are playing on the playground, which was excellent. That was good design. So that's what. So we have this in the town plan. We have it in our town plan. That's part of our town plan. We have nowhere where we're going to put it. We have to sit down with Coopop or one of the things to sit down with them because we've already given them, telling them what we need and what we want. We would like to sit with those different groups because they could help us tell us where and when, where to put it. We don't want to just say we want it here. We want to talk and make it convenient for the whole town and work with everybody. That's what we'd like to do. We'd like to have a court so that we can have an outdoor court. If you go back as far as I go back, Woodbridge Recreation was held at Center School. You came down the center school just like you would come to the senior center like that. That whole parking lot was two courts. There were 2 basketball courts right there, the whole thing, and a playground on that whole side. And when they changed it over to a parking lot, they took everything out. So we've had 2 courts there. The overflow of this is that we use the tennis courts are used at Beach North. They also are basketball courts. They're basketball courts, and when we put up the new basketball courts, I don't want, if we remodel that whole thing and we're going to do that, I think the basketball courts that there are printed on the tennis court on either side, but they can't be used during the school. The hard thing about that field, during school time, nobody can go on the campus. So it's only after school or weekends. But you put up 2 tennis courts, 2 basketball courts, and you have adjusting basketball nets. They come up and down, so you can lower them, put them like that. So those are 2 overflow courts that could be used there. But again, only when school's not in session. And in the summertime, we run into the same problem. We have the children on there for Beach or Roads programs and for our programs. So it's closed like 80% of the time. And the last one is a new project. I don't know if anybody noticed this one. Is the 90-foot diamond.
It's gonna be the Zamboni machine.
I was just saying a minute ago like this, if before I retire, we get an ice rink or something, there's a Zamboni, I put dibs on first ride. I get first dibs for that.
I have a question.
Something wrong with your hand, Matt?
I have a question. So,
to my compadre.
Yeah.
going back to the volleyball court, is that a hard surface?
No, sand.
So this is sand
This is
volleyball?
outdoor sand volleyball.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough to
Yeah,
play.
Okay.
It's fun to watch when you're sitting there and watch other people play.
Yeah. But it's also a good spot for basketball courts, isn't it? Or no?
It's a good spot for basketball courts. It's a good spot for a real skating rink, a real outdoor skating rink. One where it's a nice area. It's a nice area to develop for recreation. The whole thing right to the pool, all the way down.
That whole strip there. Yeah.
The whole strip is a nice outdoor area. That spot.
Thank
That I think the town should hang on to. And that's our presentation for the recreation part of it.
Questions for John? Okay, last on this phase is the outdoor pool. You doing that, John?
Yeah. Yep. Before we get started, I first like to thank the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance for the great job they did helping us get it started last year. We had a really good year. We didn't get started. We only had about 3-4 weeks before opening to get it going. It was a tough go. We got it through, and I think we were down 46 from the year before, but only having 3 to 4 weeks to say we were open, to tell people we were open. Whereas right now, we've put it on our website, we put it on the town's website, we've sent out things that we're open, we're putting up signs, and we've already had people sign up for the pool. People are signing up. But I want to thank you for all you did for us to get through last year. That was amazing. That was good. Here we have the outdoor pool.
Right here.
I was just making sure my right-hand man is here. And this is the part where today, we had a meeting in our office today like this, and Brad was there, and Brad explained to me. Brad was about 5 minutes into his explanation about the pool area like this, and I was like, I was in North Dakota. I have no clue. He knows everything there is about pools. He researches everything, and what he's telling us to do is we were going to drain the pool this year, drain it, and then look at it. And it wasn't feasible. It wasn't smart to do something like that because if we drained it, we couldn't fix it. We couldn't do anything. So what we're going to do is next year, we're going to run the pools open through Brad's hard work and everything like that. The pool's open. The heater's going to be fixed. The parts have to be ordered. Bob in the building maintenance came in. He's a furnace man. They know exactly what it is. They know where to get the parts. They know what to do. They can refurnish the entire furnace, the whole thing. And we were talking about $17,000. To replace everything. We're talking about $1,700 to fix what we have to do that. So in doing that and being ready with that, after the season's over, we drain the pool at the end of the season.
Drain the pool.
Drain the pool, then have it evaluated. Have somebody come in and evaluate to let us know if to resurface the pool, to fix the pool, to do everything right, to see what it is. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at here at the end of the season to do that. And then what Brad was explaining to me was, once we drain the pool and they say the pool can be fixed, the pool can be resurfaced, the whole pool resurfaced, we don't refill it. We leave it empty. Leave it empty over the winter so that during the winter, if we redo that and the water fills in, any leaves or anything that get under there, no matter what you do, they can get under there. They'll sit in there and they'll stay in your brand new pool. So we do the whole thing over. Brad can explain it probably better. But we do the whole thing, and then we fill it, and the minute it's resurfaced, you can refill it the next day. You can't use it for, 7 or 8 days?
Yeah, 7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 days, but we wouldn't be opening for 4 weeks. So
The problem with the interior of the pool is that the gunite pool, but the interior of the pool's coated with plaster, and the plaster's failing. And that's your protective layer between the pool water and the gunite. When that starts to go, pool water's gonna attack the structure itself, and that's a whole different ball game once the water gets to that structure. And you're very close to that. There are sections of the plaster that are already delaminating off the bottom of the pool, on the sides of the pool. There's no painting involved whatsoever. So you have two options. You can take the water out and prepare the pool in the wintertime, just prior to winter, in the fall, and prepare it for plastering in the spring. And then you'll be ready to go. As soon as you're done with the plastering, within 24 hours or less, you can put water right back into it and go right back into full operation and balance your pool, and you're ready to go for next year, next summer. Or you can wait and empty the pool the following year, do your work, put it to bed for the winter, and operate it next year. It all depends on John's schedule, when you want to operate the pool, when you don't want to operate the pool, who's available. My suggestion is you have a really good plan when you decide to do this, because replastering the pool, 1 in 10 pools fail. So you can replaster the pool, 6 months later, the plaster has failed. So you want to have a good plan, a good contractor. You make sure you do it at the right time. Somebody's there to oversee the project all the time, because if it fails after replastering and you put fresh water in it, you'll have to redrain it and fix the plaster. And that's what you don't, and you want a good warranty when you do all this work. It's simple work, but it just needs to be done right. The structure needs to be prepared properly so the plaster adheres to the interior pool. The rust stains are minor, but the plaster surface inside the pool is a problem. It's definitely a problem. I told John I'll do anything he needs. If he needs help, I'll be glad to help him. Draining the pool, you have two options. You can pay a company to come in and truck your water out, which is expensive. I don't know what John has. It's on John's sheets. I don't have John's sheet. I think it's just under $5,000.
Yes.
To drain the pool. I would suggest removing that and spending $250 and apply to the state now, Connecticut DEP, for a permit to discharge pool wastewater to the surface, out into the golf course. It's safe. Beach Road School does it. You don't have to spend $5,000 to dump that water. Getting the water back in has to be trucked in. You don't have any lines on site to put another 150,000 gallons in the pool. There are no hydrants there. The water tank on the hill can't do that. It has to be trucked in. It's a commitment. Once you take the water out, you're committed.
Right. And that's the first one in 2019. In 2020, the environmental backwash system and filter system needs to be replaced. Brad MacGyver is really doing a great job of keeping it going. That's what he does. He keeps everything working, keeps it going, and we feel that we can get through another year.
Another year. That pool is an old Neptune Benson tank. There used to be a similar tank at Beach Road School pool, but twice the size. I removed that tank that was over there probably, 12 years ago. Big steel tank. Some of them are lined, filled with sand. Usually the ones that are lined, the lining collapses within the tank. You don't know this until it actually fails, because now pool water is eating your steel tank and you never know it. The laterals become brittle. As far as I know, the sand within the tank has never been changed. The sand at Beach Road School, we change that every 6 years. So I don't think the sand, as far as I know, by looking at Anthony Patty's writing on the wall there, how he does every year and what he did, I don't see anybody changing the sand. I'm amazed it's still keeping the pool water clear. But at some point, that tank will have to be removed. No doubt about it.
That's 2020. 2021 is the heater down the road. The repairs that are you're taking an old heater, you're repairing it, you're doing the best you can, do everything like this. We think we can get, if we repair it this year for about, 15 to 1,700, we buy the parts now, get it, fix it, it can get us through a couple of years. And then by then, we'll know what we're doing with the pool, how far we're going, if we're going any farther than that. If we are, we need to come in with a good heater, a good heating system, and replace the one that's there. And that's the 15,000 I was gonna use this year to replace it, but we decided to go with fixing it, which it can be fixed. The next one is pool deck furniture. Right now, Brad has bought all the parts to fix them that they are right now. But as you know, they've been there for a good 20 years, and they've been fixed, and Brad's been fixing them, and he's got the new parts for next year, and we can get through the next couple of years with that. And then we'd like to start a program where we start, implementing buying new furniture that we have there to replace what's there, what's old. And then the other one I put in was lane lines. The lane lines we have now are just starting to fray a little bit. They're just starting to chip a little bit like that. But that when the machine's in there and our turtle, those expensive turtles are in there, the turtle that cleans the pool, drives around like this, it starts picking up those big pieces that are chipping off. Right now, no chips coming off, but the outer, painting? Painting, the enamel paint is starting to come off a little bit. But they'll last a couple of years. They'll last another 3, 4, 5 years. We do this at Beecher all the time. We replace them at Beecher. We work with the aquatic club. And we work together and we replace them. So I like to get those replaced. And that's it. That's our budget presentation for the budget presentation. But we do have some things that Donna would like to talk about like this. And she has recommendations for the 2018 season. I don't know if anybody has these. You have it?
Talk about that last time?
I don't know if we talked about that last time. I think we did.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jim, do you have those copies? I think Jim brought a whole bunch of copies just to give you like this. There's a lot of things we want to do. We want to work on and get like this, and like we did with the fitness center. We're working on the attendance. We're working on the things so that the proper people are using the pool properly and paying properly to use the pool like this. That residents are using it and non-residents are using it, and everybody's paying their fair share. So we came up with a lot of individual recommendations, and things and incentives. Incentives like a $50 incentive if you get a new member. If you bring a new member to us like this, you get $50 off of your membership. Things like that. You'll get a copy as it comes around right there.
I think that's more probably for the operating budget.
Okay, I just thought I'd mention too because
Yeah.
we're on the pool like that.
This is strictly capital.
And then we just started with we'll do it again just to show you, we have a new Woodbridge Recreation Outdoor Pool Membership Agreement. We came up with an agreement. As you go along, you hit different glitches, so you just figure them, you just try to get them out and try to add different things and working on different things. You pull some out, you put some in. So we have a new agreement, and in the agreement, it tells people exactly at the beginning when they sign up for the pool. And people are already signing up, so like that. And we're going to be putting out in the next week or two some sandwich boards in front of where the pool is, at the end of the road on Fountain Street, and down by Blue Check on the island, just to let people know that we are going to be open next year. We are opening the pool. You guys have helped us out so much and got us going, so that we are going to be opening this year. So this year we're getting a head start on everything. And LaDonna's going to be working on a lot of things during the pool year, so that we do it. I just wanted to give you that information.
So over the 6 years, the pool needs about $138,000. How much per season do you get in revenue?
I have it right here. Hold on.
Averaged a little over $100,000.
In revenue?
Dipped a little extra because we started late.
Yeah.
The year before we were $117,000.
And the year before you were at 88.
And the year before we were 113.
Right.
There have been factors, obviously, with the golf course and that type of thing. I mean, I think the early notice we have now, people know. The other issue we had last year is the kiddie pool didn't open until mid-July.
Right.
We had a lot of people holding off, not only families with kids who needed to use that pool, but also we had a number of members who wouldn't sign up because they said, no, we're thinking that those kids are going to be in the big pool. So, fortunately it did get resolved. A lot of effort was put in by, all the different departments, especially, Brad making that happen, and we believe that we'll have something to build off of with that. We did, if you look at the last 4 years, if you take out our golf expenses there, last year we ended up losing $4,400, which was remarkable considering when we started. The year before, it shows $11,000 loss, but we covered $20,000 in golf expenses, taking care of the locker rooms and doing a number of things for the golf program. The year before, we lost 36, but to take 20 off, we lost 16. The year before that, we lost 4,800, added 20, we're about 15 positive. So, we're in that range where we look to break even, hopefully make a few dollars, so that our goal, long-term, if we can build a membership, is to get to like a $20,000 profit so that the capital expenditures are covered over time. That's our goal. But, having the long-term view of the pool and commitment will help us to that end.
This is capital.
Okay.
I was just
Talking,
curious.
She asked the question, we just answered it, we're all set.
We'll get to the budget, we'll talk about all this.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So what you're telling me is we're going to agree to research.
You did all right, John. That's pretty good. I like that. How you doing? How you doing? How's it going? Good. Good. Oh, yeah.
Good for you. I take it. I'm impressed. I'll cheer for you.
Okay, Board of Education.
So it's good to be here, and happy holidays early to all of you for this great month coming up. And it's a pleasure to be here to present our capital budget to you, to both Board of Finance and Selectmen. I'd just like to thank, to my left, Al Pulo, Director of Business and Operations, and James Crawford to my right, our Technology Coordinator, for being with us tonight as well. And for James, who will, I guess, run our, well, I guess I can run that. That's fine. Thank you. Good. So as we get started, just before we get into the presentation, I just wanted to say again a thank you to the boards of Finance and Selectmen for their past support of the needs that we've had at Beecher Road School. A special word of thanks for your advocation in past years for the multi-million-dollar project that took place, which obviously is now completed, and we're enjoying the benefits of that as well, of course, throughout the building. So thank you for all that, and thank you for that support. This presentation basically is in the context of a few things. One is we're trying to address our current needs on a very large campus, a 43-acre campus, 170,000 square foot building. We're trying to also, the concept of being good stewards to the town for this great resource that is part of the town's property. And also the context of the fact that Beecher Road School is a building that is in constant use. There's 1,000 people, between students and teachers, who are there on a daily basis. There are many others that come in during the day and in the evening. The building is heavily used. The grounds are heavily used during the school day and on weekends. And so this is all about trying to be good stewards and maintaining that site and looking out for it. I would like to say that I would, at some point in the future, like to invite board members here for a tour of the inside and outside. I think that would be beneficial to understand up close and in person some of the things that we're talking about, as well as some of the things that this plan doesn't even address. There are many needs, and I think that would be an ideal thing to do at some point in the future. So I would just put that as a point for us to think about as we move forward. So just going through our requests, this first page is sort of a summary of our requests. We have $46,000 worth of technology infrastructure that we're requesting, $50,000 in landscaping for our buildings and grounds, $135,000 in asphalt and paving,
and $25,050 in kitchen equipment for a total capital budget request of $256,050. We've just listed the technology equipment at the bottom of $75,000. That is not part of this capital request. We've included it just to be informational to you folks. We know in the past that replacement equipment, which is what that $75,000 represents, had at one point been in the capital budget. We know it's not any longer. It's in our operating, but we wanted to just let you know some of those items that are in there if you were interested in knowing that. I will also say on this cover page that the items for buildings and grounds were in our, these same exact items were in our presentation last year. As you know, from the history, those were unfunded last year at the end of the budget season. Getting into our capital budget requests for technology infrastructure for $46,000. $14,000 of that represents the wiring upgrades, switches, and additional access points that are necessary for the expansion and maintenance of our wireless network. And another $32,000 is geared towards a virtual server system similar to ones at Amity and similar to other districts and other businesses. A server that would serve our business and district offices. This would be replacing our current server in that area, and this would also afford expansion of other modules in the future when servers in the cafeteria, the nurse's office, and other network maintenance do start to fail. So this would serve that and would serve a larger range and sort of an all-encompassing server for all those areas. If that $32,000 is not funded through this capital process, we would at the very least need an appropriation of $7,500 for immediate needs that would that currently have to be served. And if we did go to that lower cost of $7,500 for the immediate needs, we would be increasing server requests in future years 2 through 6, in anticipation of servers that need to be replaced. I'm going to continue on here. Just again, this is a broad brush for technology. Technology is a critical area for any school district and any school system. Digital literacy is very, very important, and we have very heavy technology use. Just as a very quick snapshot here, this is the technology replacement equipment that will go in our operating budget. Student replacement computers for $62,000, which replaces old iPads and old desktop computers. Why to replace them? Because operating systems on those machines do not any longer work for the kinds of systems and applications we need. Faculty computer replacements, instructional technology. A total of $75,000 was actually appropriated, or at least not appropriated, but was presented to the Board of Education a month or so ago when we presented this. Since that time, we've actually been able to reduce that $75,000 to $66,000 in finding ways to cash in some of our obsolete equipment, equipment that actually would bring us cash value. So as we weave this into our operating budget, that number $66,000 will replace $75,000. Again, trying to continually find ways to reduce our costs. James will just for a moment, just talk a little bit about our computer purchases and our computer replacement process. It's the bar graph that you see in front of you.
So those of you who've been here many years have seen a replacement cycle graph of how many computers we have that are older than 5 years or newer than 5 years old, and the same with iPads. The graph this year shows a little bit different. As you can see, we haven't bought any new student computers since the 2010-2011 school year, as we started ramping up into the one-to-one iPad deployments. Also, for those of you who don't know, we do iPads one-to-one in grades 2 through 6 and centers of iPads in kindergarten and first grade. As we've done this deployment of one-to-one iPads, the need for desktop computers has decreased in the classroom. So now most desktop computers are focused in the library and technology centers, with a few more desktops spread out throughout the building. So you can see we haven't bought any desktop computers in a number of years. So as Mr. Gilbert said, this year or next year we're going to start the replacement cycle of some of those very old desktop computers, and then we are continuing to do the replacement cycle of iPads. As Mr. Gilbert said, some of the iPads are becoming obsolete because of operating system software problems rather than the necessary hardware issues that we've faced. So we're trying to build a replacement cycle so we don't have a major hit because you can see in 1 year we were very fortunate because of pricing to get a large number of iPads. Unfortunately, those are also going to be reflected when they all kind of hit the same operating system wall. So we're trying to anticipate replacing those as best we can in time being.
Left axis is representing what?
So it's a chronological time. So the blue is desktops, the red is iPads.
It's the number of computers.
So the number of computers is the
actual
access.
number quantity.
So
am I reading it right? So for example, in 2013, you had over 300 of the iPads, and in 2017 you have less than 100?
Purchased.
Purchased. This is how many you purchased. I'm sorry. Thank
Correct. Yes. So that's how many were purchased. So currently we have over 700 iPads and approximately 150 computers. In the 2010-2011 school year, when we started this, and we had over 300 desktop computers. So the number has really shifted over the years. You'll also notice this year we have not purchased anything, again, as Mr. Gold said, because capital was not funded. And the operating we had to cut this year for it.
When do you think that you'll have to replace what you purchased in 2013-14?
So that generation, we're starting in. So we've purchased some of those to get in, and we're hitting them now. So a number of those iPads are currently in use in our 2nd grade and our 6th grade. Unfortunately, the 6th graders, they've had them for a number of years. The way we've done our replacement cycle, or we're hoping to really do it, is give the newest iPads to 4th grade. So we have new iPads in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They get then returned to 2nd and 3rd grade, where they're getting a little bit less use. So that's kind of the hope. So right now, unfortunately, 6th graders have some of those, and some 2nd graders have some. There's a large number. We're trying to replace, but we've also experienced a large growth of student population this year. I think it's about 5%, if I'm correct. So the number that I was hoping to recycle this year is less because of the need of the students.
So again, just as a reminder, these are all replacement computers. These are actually not part of the capital budget. They're in our operating budget, but we wanted to just bring that to you because it's been a topic from past budget years, and I'm sure just for some continuity of information that's helpful to you folks. Our next slide is on our buildings and grounds, the landscaping area of that for $50,000. This was the same item submitted this year as we saw last year. This is all part of a greater site assessment study that was done in 2011 by Fuss and O'Neill, which is the little picture at the bottom left. You also have a more elaborate attachment to your packet at the very end regarding those projects. But again, this is a $50,000 project for landscaping. It's not beautification. It's a matter of maintaining and correcting erosion. This is in the South Campus part of the building, where the parking lot has the upper and lower sections, the erosion that's going on between them, and the obvious concern is the erosion that can spill over into the lower parking lot where the asphalt was replaced a few years ago as part of a STEEP grant. We want to avoid that erosion, obviously. Earlier I mentioned about hopefully having all of you come at some point for a short tour and just a sort of a little, let's see these things actually live. There are at least 2 other, if not more, significant areas of erosion around the building in different places that really does need to be addressed. And again, that's the whole idea of being good stewards of a campus and a school that is a great resource to this town, and it gets a lot of use. So I think at some point we really would like to get up close to some of those and have you see those in one way, shape, or form. But this is the area of landscaping that we've identified that is the most critical in terms of taking care of first and foremost. The next part of our buildings and grounds request is, again, a repeat from last year, this $135,000 to pave the north parking lot, as well as pave the access pathway, and also to widen it that goes to the back of the building to enable first responders in a safe and easy and a faster way to get back there. This $135,000 would really complete most of, if not all, the real driveway and parking lot paving that was started a few years ago when some of the other grants were awarded. Obviously, if you drive through that part of the north parking lot, you will see various aspects that are really failing in terms of cracks and places that not only become difficult with cars, but also dangerous to walking around. The upcoming winter will certainly not be enhancing that situation at all. Our last page of our capital request is an area that is new this year. It's about kitchen equipment. We serve roughly 350 students of our 840 students every day. We feed them lunch. It's a great lunch program, self-sustaining program, and the kitchen equipment that's there was installed, at least the pieces we're talking about tonight were installed in 1997 when the original construction was done of that cafeteria and that kitchen. The two items we're talking about is the Cleveland Range steamer for $18,330 and a 6-burner range oven for $6,700. Again, these are 20-year-old items that are used daily that get heavy use. They've exceeded their useful life. They, at times, unfortunately, are unreliable, and due to their age, they certainly are problematic to repair and finding parts and being able to rectify issues that do come up. So again, as a summary, our total capital budget request for fiscal year 2019 is in the number of $256,050 that we would submit to your consideration tonight.
On your virtual services, and that $32,000 expenditure, is that a one-time expense? Is there maintenance involved with that, and what is the lifespan of that?
So the virtual server is a one-time expense. The lifespan is in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 years at minimum. I've seen some that go to 10 years. So we're hoping for the server that's replacing is in the 9-year range, so I'm hoping an 8 to 10 year lifespan of that server.
Anything else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So Tuesday, same time, same place. But more importantly, the town meeting, we need a quorum, the Board of Finance. I believe the Board of Selectmen do also. So if you can't be there for the town meeting, let Karen know. We definitely need a quorum to.
We're doing town meeting across the way.
Yeah, but in case there's not a
quorum at the
there's
town
not a
meeting.
quorum, which there really is, then it comes back to the Board of Finance. I don't believe the Board of Selectmen.
You have to know they have a meeting too.
They have a meeting too?
Yeah.
All right, so you need a quorum there too, so.
So we're here and then we're there.
Here and there.
And we'll meet there after.
I think we're gonna meet right there, yeah.
Stay there?
Yeah, yeah.
Just to approve it if there's not a quorum. Okay?
But we're going to start off here.
Yeah, 6 o'clock here with the schedule, it's Public Works, Waste Management, and the Fire Commission. So honestly, we're gonna be done way before 7:30. So. All righty, see you then.
Somewhere in there, I was.